Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our HHQ webinar. We are glad to have many esteemed attendees with us today for our webinar on transfer by way of love and affection, probate and LA. Before we kickstart this session, please be informed that all participants will be muted, and if there are any questions, please type in the Q&A chat box and we will discuss them during the Q&A session later. Please allow me to introduce our speaker, Ms. Elise Ng. Elise's area of practice consists of real estate and probate for corporate banking. She has advised on various sales and purchase and banking transactions. She has also represented corporations in acquisition and disposal of their properties for both residential and commercial properties. In the corporate banking practice, Elise has advised on various types of financing, including term loan financing and trade lines facility for both conventional and Islamic facilities, from initial stage up to drawdown of facilities. Please join me to welcome our speaker, Ms. Elise Ng.
Hi. Hello, good afternoon. I'm Elise. Okay, so today we will have a discussion on this transfer of a housing property. So by way of love and affection, and also probate and letter of administration. So usually the questions are whether stamp duty and RPGT they are payable. Okay. So okay, this is the table for stamp duty. So you know, like effective from January 2019, so there's an increase of stamp duty for property above 1 million. So as you can see, stamp duty is actually a tax on the legal document. So you can see from the table, so for the first 100,000 is 1%, and next 400,000 is 2%, subsequent 500,000 is 3%, and above 1 million is 4%. Okay. So it doesn't matter whether it's by way of a sale and purchase agreement or by way of love and affection. So when we say love and affection, means that there's no consideration. So it's a gift by way of gift. Okay. And as for real property gain tax, there's actually some amendment as well, amended by this Finance Act 2019. Okay, so we will start with part one. So if you have acquired the property within 3 years, and then you want to sell off the property, so you still need to pay RPGT of 30%. So it will decrease 4th year, 5th year, and after, you know, in the 6th year, if you want to sell off the property, it's actually 5%. So and then for part two is actually a company. So for company, right, the tax would, I mean the RPGT would be higher. So it's 30, 20, 15, and 10 after 6 years. So and then part three is for non-citizen. So it's 30, 30, 30, and 10%. Okay, you can. Okay, let's go to the next one. So okay, so actually, right, so because sometimes some property, right, if the property has been acquired for a very long time, so how do we actually calculate the RPGT? So for Malaysian for citizen, so we will use the market value as at 2000 to determine the RPGT. Okay, this is only for part one. I mean for Malaysian. So if for part two, right, part two and part three, so it will still be based on the actual acquisition of the price to calculate the RPGT. Okay, so just bear in mind because even if the property is acquired before 2000, but we will still use the 2000 January 2000 as a benchmark to calculate the RPGT. Okay. So this is a stamp duty exemption. So just have to remember that when we say by way of love and affection, right? It must be you know, based on love and affection means there's no consideration. So once if there is a sale and purchase agreement, even between husband and wife, then you need to pay stamp duty. There's no remission. RPGT also you need to pay. So for husband and wife, you can see the stamp duty exemption is PUA 420/2007. And for parents to children is PUA 434/2000. So love and husband and wife is 100% remission. So for children is 50% remission. Okay, so this is just a simple table. As you can see, husband and wife 100% remission, parents to child, child to parents, 50% remission. So, and grandparents to grandchildren, there are no remission. So uncle, auntie to nephew, niece also, there are no remission. So RPGT and stamp duty is actually payable. Okay, so now we will see whether RPGT is payable. So as explained just now, if they are husband and wife, parent, child, and grandchild, then it will be deemed that no gain, no loss. But then for grandparent and grandchild, RPGT is exempted, but stamp duty, there's no exemption. So just have to take note on this. So these are some instances. So as you can see, property owned by husband half share, transfer half share to wife. So it's actually full exemption on the 3,000 stamp duty. RPGT is exempted. So if the second one, father transfer half share to the son, so the stamp duty payable is actually 3,000. So 3,000 is based on half value, 200,000. So the stamp duty payable is actually 1,500, it's actually 50%. RPGT is exempted. And the third one, sister to transfer property to the brother, no stamp duty exemption, no RPGT exemption. Okay. And then, okay, auntie to transfer property to nephew, full stamp duty and RPGT is payable. Okay, then another one is grandparents to the grandson. So RPGT, stamp duty is, there's no exemption. You still need to pay full stamp duty, but RPGT is exempted. So for grandparent and grandchild is a bit different. Stamp duty no exemption, but RPGT is exempted. Okay, so the last one, right, you can see is a father to transfer the property to the wife, but there is a sale and purchase agreement. So sometimes, right, maybe it's the bank's requirement because let's say maybe the wife is taking a loan. So, maybe the wife, maybe the transaction is to transfer and then to refinance, something like that. So the bank requires sale and purchase agreement to be entered. So if there is a consideration, then there won't be any stamp duty exemption and RPGT is not exempted as well. Okay, it must be based on love and affection, no consideration. Okay, these are other exemption for stamp duty. So you can actually go through. Another one is RPGT exemption. Okay, you can actually go through yourself. Okay. Okay, this is by way of a grant of probate letter of administration. So for the transfer of property, right, from disease to executor to beneficiary is actually 10 ringgit, 10 ringgit. Okay, so but unless the property, right, is to be transferred to a third party purchaser from the executor to the third party purchaser, then yes, you need to pay full stamp duty. Okay. And whether RPGT is payable. So if the property is transferred to executor or administrator, then transferred to beneficiary, then there's no RPGT payable. But then, of course, if the beneficiary subsequently, sell the property to a third party, then RPGT is payable. Okay, let's see how to calculate the data. Okay, so let me see here. Maybe we see the second one first. This is one of the files that I've done before. Okay, property owned by deceased, right? Then being transferred to the executor on 1st of January. Okay, so the market value is 400,000. So actually the stamp duty payable is 10 ringgit lah, from deceased to executor to beneficiary. So no RPGT is payable. Then after that, beneficiary, 1 year later, wanted to sell the property to a third party purchaser, and they enter into a sale and purchase agreement. So the market value is 500,000. Okay, so of course the third party will need to pay full stamp duty on 500,000, and the question is whether RPGT is payable. So RPGT is payable, yes. So the market value that will be used to calculate will be based on 1st of January, because 1st of January the property is transferred to the beneficiary. So it's deemed that the beneficiary acquired the property on 1st of January, and then the RPGT payable is 30%. Because it's actually during the first 3 years. So therefore it's 30% on 100,000 gain. 400 and 500,000, the gain is 100,000. And then the first one, property owned by deceased, vested in the executor or administrator who is a Malaysian. Deceased passed away in 2015. And then after that, obtain a court order to sell the property to a third party. So means that the property is not transferred to the beneficiary, will be transferred to the third party directly. So if the value in 2015 is 400,000, and then 2020 is 600,000. Okay, so stamp duty, of course, from deceased to executor is 10 ringgit, no RPGT is payable. And then for third party purchaser, always need to pay full stamp duty on the 600,000. And the RPGT payable, because it's already after 5 years. So the date used to calculate the RPGT would be the date the disease passed away, 12 June 2015. So that's the market rate, when the disease passed away, 400,000. So the gain rate is actually 200,000. So RPGT is 15% on the 200,000. Okay, these are the two examples. I think that's all. Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Elise, for the enlightening sharing. I'm sure it is very helpful to many, especially our attendees today. Now we have come to the Q&A session for this webinar. You may post your question in the Q&A chat box if you have any question. Before we end this session, can it be informed that an evaluation form will be sent to you via email, and we look forward to your feedback on our webinar today. I believe that's all the time we have today. This marks the end of our webinar. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.